Okay, with that, we're going to introduce our next act. This next guy is new to the circuit, but I really like what he does. He's a dad, he's a lawyer, so if you don't laugh at him, he may just sue you for emotional distress. I like that. This is his second ever gig, and in his first gig, he claimed he had the most hated profession in the world. But I reckon being a dad can't be that bad. Please welcome for the second time in Toowoomba, the wonderful talent that is Jim Forbes!
Thank you. There was some music that was supposed to play there, and it's a shame it didn't, because it was from a soundtrack of a favourite 80s movies of mine, Cafe Flesh. And I won't say anything more about that because it might incriminate me. Great for me to be here in Toowoomba tonight. It's also utterly unsurprising as I live here and have nowhere else to go. Mind you, there is one consolation. I'm not in Oakey. having said that, Oakey's an easy bastion, I bet. Having said that, I don't want you to think I'm down on Toowoomba. Far from it. It's a wonderful place to live. There's some volume. It's yeah, great place to live. Where else do you get to read the Chronicle? It's a joke that tells itself. The Chronicle's like waking up every morning to a fresh episode of Dumb and Dumber. It's a privilege. Mind you, I've got to give the Chronicle its due. It did break one of the major stories of our time late last year. The baffling case of Mr. Sausage. For those of you not local or have chosen to forget this one, Mr. Sausage was a giant fiberglass wiener. Sat atop one of the local butcher's stores and vanished in mysterious circumstances one night. Despite the Chronicle's best efforts and those of our local constabulary, the case remains unsolved. It's not all that surprising to me. I would imagine there's the number of people wanting to get at the Southern Hemisphere's largest freestanding pork product would be as long as your arm. Islamic extremists, militant vegans, mustard enthusiasts. Who knows, perhaps the thing was pinched by a passing giant amputee in dire need of a prosthetic cock. Carl Sanderlands might have needed a new one for his forehead. It's nice to be topic. Yes, so getting back to poor old Mr. Sausage, look, in a town like this, and I want to be serious for a moment, in a town like this the most likely explanation is that he was stolen by a pack of local potheads with too much time on their hands and far too ready access to power tools. Come on, man, let's nick it. There's heaps of shit we can do with a 6-foot-high novelty small good. That should be an easy hop at cash converters. Mind you, it'll probably be the biggest sausage they ever flog. Anyway, that's enough of my snivelling about Toowoomba. There's a whole wide world out there waiting to disappoint. Like social networking websites. You across these? Face Gash, My Head, whatever they're called. Yeah, so the old social networking sites are touted as this fascinating window, a look into contemporary society. For mine, they're more like taking a cruise in a glass-bottom boat through a sewage farm. I think the thing that annoys me most about social networking is the hype surrounding it, you know? Like the recent unrest in Iran. So the headlines are screaming, Twitter revolution. Regime change through broadband, not bullets. Well, this revolution must be taking place at the pace of dial-up. Because the last time I checked, the mullahs were still living large in downtown Tehran, calling prayers and cracking heads. And really, should we have expected anything different? I mean, we're talking here about a hardened regime, clung to power for 3+ decades, having stared down a superpower in the process. You really think it's going to fold in the face of a couple of disapproving tweets and a frowny emoticon? I mean, come on. I would have thought it'd take a rejected friend request at least to roll the Ayatollah. Anyway, look, perhaps I'm just down on social networking because it has absolutely zero relevance to my life. I can communicate quite easily with the few friends I do have by talking to myself. So these sites are as useful to me as my nipples. As for being poked repeatedly by a bunch of people I barely know, I went to Catholic boarding school, so I've been there, done that, and sought the therapy. Speaking of boarding school, that was my parents' idea. I'm sure they meant well, they just wanted to give me the best start, prepare me for the real world. Though I do wonder what sort of real world a closed, all-male, institutional environment staffed by, hear me out, staffed by repressed celibates with cruel streaks a mile wide. I wonder what sort of real world that does prepare you for, apart possibly from a career as a prison bitch. Which I haven't succeeded at. I remember my first day painfully well, at boarding school that is, not in prison. Bear with me, but at that age, at age 11 when I started, I was a rather pretty child. And I know you're probably thinking, him, pretty, with that nose and chin? He looks like an anorexic Punch and Judy doll. Time hasn't treated me kindly, but back then I was cute, take it from me. In fact, I looked rather girlish. So I'm sitting there in the dormitory, my parents have waved goodbye to me, and I'm bawling my little heart out. Absolutely homesick. When up wanders this big senior boy to lend a helping hand and some words of support. Sure. Turns to his mates and growls, if he had tits, I'd fuck him. And so began 6 years in a psychosexual cyclone. Anyway, a lot of nicknames in the boarding school environment. We had several of our own. Let's see, there was Seafood Mama, so called because she smelled as if she bathed in bait. It was the kind of odour that rubbed off on everything she touched too, which was a shame for us because she prepared our meal. Who else? There was Father Burke. He was a lovely old bastard actually. He was my my housemaster. Had a face as wrinkled as a prune. So, of course, we called him Scrotum. One of my favourites was Neil, who was a she. Not her real name, obviously. So called because she was a stunning looky-likey for Neil, the hippie from The Young Ones, some of you may be familiar with. Neil was our Neil, not Neil on The Young Ones. Our Neil was a rather fascinating character. She's a rather enterprising lass. She worked in the laundry, ironing and folding clothes. Topped up her minimum wage by smuggling pot into the laundry bags of a few of the older boys, which gave a whole new meaning to getting out grass stains. And finally we had the boss, Big Daddy of the laundry, Jock Washer. It was a failing of imagination there, but we did have another nickname for him, the Baker. Because with all that teenage male betting, he was handling more crust than a tip-top factory. I'm going to close on that note in the sincere hope that no one has ordered bread and butter pudding. Thank you.
Hey, I'm back. Well, when I was growing up, like, my mum would always say these weird sayings, like, don't pick that up, you don't know where it's been. I said, Mum, if only you had that advice when you were picking up Dad. But my favourite mum quote she always used to tell me was, Aaron Luke Ducker, I was in labour for hours with you. I said, Mum, if you ain't labour that bad, why don't you just change for Liberals? But in Indonesia, this is really freaking me out. They want disabled people to wear signs. As a disabled person, this freaks me out. Because, you know, because as if it's wheelchair for most people isn't enough, you know? Anyway, this sign thing really intrigued me because those disabled stickers get you a good pass, well, a disabled sign get me a good seat at the pub. But what if you're a new disabled person? Will you have to wear a learner sign? But what if you're a gay disabled person? Do they come in bling?